What's up, guys? I'm back, and this is a very bright light, but it seems like for the first time the sky is finally clear, for the first time in like a month. And I mean, there's some clouds up there, but for the most part, it's pretty nice and clear. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get some shots of Messier 51, also known as the Whirlpool Galaxy, through the telescope over here. The Whirlpool Galaxy is special because of two main things. First of all, it's made of two galaxies, the big one and the small one. And these are actually right next to each other in real life, and they're interacting with each other because of their gravity. And this one's kind of pulling this one in, and it makes for some really neat pictures. They're not really moving fast because each one of them is so big that even like a million years from now, it's not going to look too different than it does right now. But it's still a really cool setup that you have here. And the second neat feature is that it's a spiral galaxy, and it's face on, meaning that you can actually see the arms. And that's unlike an edge-on galaxy, which is like this one, the needle galaxy. And as you can see here, it probably looks like this from above, but facing towards us is kind of the edge of it, so you can't see quite as much detail. And I think that makes this more photogenic, I guess. You get better pictures of it. And for example, this one here was taken by an amateur, meaning not a professional, and probably from their backyards. So yeah, hopefully we could get something not quite like this, but I'm hoping that we could see the big one and the little one, and maybe like a little disc around the big one to represent those spiral arms through our very own telescope. I kind of have the telescope aimed in the general direction, which is right above the Big Dipper, as you can see in this picture right here. But it's not perfect, and I don't think I have the galaxy in the frame or the field of view, so I'm going to work on that, and then I'll hook up the camera and start shooting. Alright, so what I've been doing is taking test shots through the telescope here. I've hooked up the camera, but the problem is, as you can see, if I turn on the camera and look at one of the shots, the galaxy is definitely not there, and the stars aren't really sharp because it's not focused, but we're also in the wrong area of the sky, because obviously if we were in the right area, the galaxy would be there. So the telescope is aimed wrong, but I'm hoping that we can fix it through this thing here called the finder scope, which is basically a lower magnification telescope that kind of shows you what's around what the main telescope is looking at. The problem is you can't really see super dim stars in this thing because it's small compared to the big one, but I'm hoping that the stars around Whirlpool are big enough for us to actually aim it right, and hopefully with any luck we will get in the right field of view, and then we just have to focus it. Awesome news, everybody. I finally took a picture, and after fiddling around with the telescope, I took a picture, and it seemed to match up with what my computer says the area around Whirlpool should look like. And I'll put a side-by-side comparison of the picture I took and what my computer says it should look like if I'm in the right spot. And as you guys can see, the stars seem to match up, so I'm thinking that we're in the right spot. So that means that the telescope is aligned and we could start taking pictures. Alright, so now that we got the Whirlpool Galaxy in the frame, we just have to take a picture. And once we have it, in a second, we have to make sure that it gets centered on the screen. So there it was kind of like in the bottom of the frame, and we want to move it to the center because, you want the subject of the picture to be in the center. So we're going to work on that right now. It sounds like there's coconuts falling from a tree or something, but anyways, we're going to focus on that, and yeah, when we get done, I will start taking a ton of pictures, and then we're going to stack them tomorrow. Alright guys, I got some bad news. I accidentally kind of fell into the telescope and moved it over a bit, so it's definitely not centered anymore. And on top of that, the galaxy already kind of moved in the sky to behind the palm tree right over there. So we're going to have to move the whole telescope and kind of like restart, which is unfortunate, but finding something in the sky again is always easier than it is the first time. So I bet once we move it and polar align it again, I bet finding the galaxy for the second time is probably only going to take like 5-10 minutes. So not too big of a deal, but a minor setback that we're going to have to overcome real quick. Alright guys, progress update. It's like 5 minutes later and we already got it centered again, as you can see here when it loads in. There, right there, that's the galaxy. You can see there's two little dots there, and each one of those is one of the two galaxies that make up M51. So yeah, we're back in business, and right now, before I fall into the telescope again, I will take just a ton of pictures of that galaxy. And I'm thinking that we're probably gonna go for like maybe like 50, and if I'm not tired, I'll go for 100, but yeah, we'll try doing that, and then we'll go back in and tomorrow we'll process it. All right, guys, I think I just finished taking the last of my pictures. I've probably taken like 70 by now, and it's kind of a diminishing return thing. The more pictures you take, the less impact each new picture has. So if I kept going, I'd have to stay up for like another 20 minutes to make the picture just a little bit better. So I decided to stop here. And before I go, I thought that I would mention, the last time I filmed, the sky looked pretty different since it was like a month ago and it was earlier in the night. The sky now actually looks quite different than it did back then. Now you can see, I think it's Scorpius, the constellation in the sky. It looks like a scorpion, and you can no longer see Orion. You could see the Big Dipper is much higher in the sky, and yeah, I'll put up a picture of Scorpius right now, what it looks like to me, because I'm sure you can't see it through my phone camera. But yeah, cool stuff. The sky always changes throughout the year, which always keeps stargazing entertaining, I guess. And yeah, I'm gonna bring this stuff in now, and tomorrow we will stack these pictures and see if we could get that kind of halo-y double smudge thing that we're looking for, hopefully. And yeah, see you then. Here we are a few days later, and I finished processing all the pictures of the galaxy, and I put the whole process in this folder here so I could show you guys quickly. So here, the first folder I have is are the raw files directly from the camera, as you can see here. And after I had those in the folder, I put them all into a Photoshop document, this thing right here. And I kind of roughly aligned them so that I could put them into Linkios, this app right here, which would make sure that the alignment is kind of perfect from the computer. So once I made the Photoshop document, I exported that into a bunch of different images, and all of these are the aligned versions of these raw files. And then once I put that in Linkios, the result was this. And as you can see, it's very dim, but it's very, there's not much noise compared to a single raw file. As you can see, once it downloads, very noisy. But when we stack 50 pictures, you could see how much the noise goes away. And when you take the noise away, you can do something called stretching in Photoshop, which is where you kind of make a trade. You increase the noise, but you also increase the detail. And this is our final image right here. And it's not beautiful, but I do think that we achieved our goal of, number one, getting the big and the small galaxy, the big one here and the little one here. And if you squint your eyes a bit and turn the lights down in your room, I do really think that you can see a little hazer on this one, and that is the spiral arms. And if you really push your eyes, or maybe I'm just imagining things, I feel like I can see a spiral arm going here and another one going here. It might be a stretch because obviously this is not the most detailed image you've ever seen, but I do think you could see that. And if you guys don't believe me, I took a better photo that somebody else took of the Whirlpool Galaxy that I found on Google, and I took ours and I stacked them so that you could see. I aligned them, and here, as you can see, is our image, and here's the professional image, or not professional, but really good image. And as you can see, that first curve out, or the first arm of the galaxy I was talking about here, would represent this one, and the second one out here would represent this one. And then of course we have the big galaxy here represented by this dot, and the little galaxy here represented by this dot. So again, it's not the most beautiful image, but I do feel like it was pretty good considering that we're in the middle of a big city, and the sky glow from all the city lights really decreases the contrast with the galaxy. So in my opinion, even getting anything in a city is pretty good. So I'm very happy with our result here, and yeah, until next time.